Good to go? Okay. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the July 24th meeting of the Raynham Zoning Board of Appeals. To my left is Barrett Johnson, an associate member of the board, and to my right is Peter Shondek, the clerk of the board. My name's Carl Varana. I'm the chairman of the board. I would announce for everyone's benefit that the proceedings are being transcribed and recorded to allow full and accurate minutes and to allow full participation of the clerk. The time is 7 o'clock, and we're at the Town Hall in Raynham. Would the clerk please read the first petition and other relevant matters?
Raynham Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, July 24th, 2019, at 7 p.m. at Raynham Veterans Memorial Town Hall, 558 South Main Street, to consider petition 986, David G. Leghetto, Raynham, Mass., request for a special permit pursuant to Raynham zoning bylaw section 6.6.7A, design requirements for all signs, movement, to allow a new road sign at Barrels and Boards, 1285 Broadway, assesses map 3, lot 371-0, Raynham, Mass. Anyone wishing to be heard on this matter should attend the hearing. A copy of the plan and application may be viewed in full at the town clerk's office during scheduled business hours.
Signed by...
I have a list of them that's signed by...
Next page.
Next one. Michael Lally.
Would all those who intend to give testimony with respect to this matter please rise? Anybody who's going to say anything at all with respect to this? Raise your right hands, please. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give before this board shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. You may be seated. Why don't you come up to where our podium used to be? Oh, there it is. Okay. We'll switch them up.
Yeah.
Take them out a little bit.
So I get the big TVs too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I didn't see that. Wow. Let me stay a while. Would you give the reasons for granting this petition?
Well, we're just looking
Can we
to...
have your name and your name for the record?
Sure, David Leghetto.
Okay.
What we're trying to do is we're trying to, as you know, we're putting a new establishment there, a new restaurant, and we're keeping the same blueprint of the sign, but we want to put a digital message board rather than the letters that go up there. It's just the letters, they just don't look good. They fall off. They get old. It's just not a good look. And we're spending a lot of money on the place. We're making the place look really nice, and we're trying to continue that with the sign. And it's simple as that. We don't need anything blinking, anything moving. We just want to be able to put a digital message up there, coming soon, or specials, whatever it might be.
Okay. Do you wish to add to that?
I'm Bob Messier. I'm actually with the manufacturer of the product, the digital signs. I'm here more to just answer any questions, concerns you might have about the technology. I do have some flyers I'd like to hand out, and just as a leave behind, we do help a lot of cities and towns with this technology, writing an ordinance, talking about the brightness and the automatic dimming and things like that.
Okay. Any questions?
Size of the sign is well within the parameters of the
It's
zoning
identical to
bylaw?
the sign that's there.
Okay.
We didn't change the blueprint. We just changed the interior of the sign.
Peter?
And so this is right on 138, so there's not really residential near it that would disturb neighbors or anything like that. But you do have the requirements as far as the brightness and things like that? Okay. No, I'm just saying you have them built into the sign, up to our codes. Or you can adjust them to our codes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure. I didn't see the exact code that
I think
you
there's
have.
something about flashing.
Yeah,
Sure.
flashing and moving.
Yeah.
and,
No, they're not going to be flashing or moving.
Good.
It's, not looking for anything that sophisticated. We just want to be able to put a nice message up there that you can read, that stays clean and neat.
And you got to spell Amber Alert right.
Sorry.
Pardon?
I didn't hear.
Spelling.
No, see, the spelling on Amber Alert.
What's wrong?
I
Put Amber.
Oh, it is.
Amber.
It's okay. Any other questions? Peter?
Could I leave these with you and just make
Sure.
a comment on this?
Sure.
And this is just something to take home or look at later, and without getting too technical.
Great.
Like I said, we use this a lot
Thank
to
you.
help cities and towns write ordinances around the technology.
Did you guys do anything with the American Legion or on Mill Street? You didn't, that's not your sign?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Anyway, one of the biggest things and concerns we get from a lot of cities and towns is the brightness at night. During the day, we use a photocell that automatically adjusts the intensity of the display to the ambient light condition outside, and that pamphlet will kind of describe and go through that. The industry uses basically foot candles. It will be no more than 0.3 foot candles above the ambient light. So what the ambient light is, whatever the light we have in here, it won't be more than 0.3 above that. It's very important. Basically, can guarantee you that sign will not be awfully glowing. Don't turn that thing down at night. All of our products use the photocell, and those are things that I like to discuss and reassure you, because there are products out there that don't have the photocells, and they're awful at night, and they're basically hurting our industry. Do you know what I mean? So that pamphlet just helps you, educate you a little bit on that. It's an important thing to have in your ordinance.
Good.
Just one quick question, where it says barrels and boards, is that gonna be like, is there gonna be a light behind it? Is that gonna be illuminated, or is it just the Amber Alert part?
Oh, as far as illumination, this is the only illumination. It'll light up like it does now.
Okay.
It has the bulbs on it that at night that it goes on.
Yeah.
It's not
It's an
gonna be-
internally lit sign.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
Any other questions? Is there anyone else here who wishes to be heard in favor of this petition? Nobody rushing the stage.
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, sir. Identify yourself, please.
Yeah, my name is Michael Arietta. I'm from Raynham Liquor Store, and I'm here 100% in favor for it. It's great for business to put specials up there, stuff like town meetings, you can help with the town, Amber Alerts. It's a great thing to have 138. I'd like to see it move forward.
Thank you. Anyone else? Is there anyone here in opposition to this petition? Would you care to sum up, or are you satisfied with what you've told us at this point?
I guess one final comment, like you mentioned, putting some public safety information that are used for that. Amber Alert, God forbid you have an Amber Alert, it's a great tool for that. Something we recently added was actually through the web-based system is the iPods. I don't know if you're familiar with those, the alerts you get on your phone if there's a tornado or a hurricane, or the customer could actually implement that where it will automatically display that on the message center. It's a fairly new feature that's come into the industry that, other than that, if you had any other questions about.
You gonna use the existing post?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. I have nothing further. Do you have anything further, Peter?
I'm good.
All right, I would declare the meeting closed. All may remain, but none may speak. The board will be in executive session. Peter?
It seems fine to me, it's not, like I say, it's not a residential area that it's gonna bother people, in their houses or anything.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve.
Second? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. I would declare the meeting open again. The decision is favorable, and the board has granted you your petition. You have, anyone who's aggrieved by this decision may file an appeal to the Superior Court, and that appeal shall be filed with the town clerk within 20 days of the filing of the board's decision with the town clerk. Thank you, good luck.
Thank you.
When are you guys opening?
That's a really good question. We're open end of September.
You gonna be open for lunch?
Yes,
Yes?
Yeah.
I have one more place to go to lunch.
there you go.
That's what I know.
Thank you again.
Thank you. That's all this.
987. All right, the Raynham Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, July 24th, 2019, 7 p.m. at Raynham Veterans Memorial Hall, 558 South Main Street, to consider petition number 987, Sean A. Connell, Raynham, Mass., request for a special permit pursuant of Raynham zoning bylaws, section 7.4, specific uses allowed by special permit to allow an in-law apartment recertification at 101 Jennings Drive, assesses map 3, lot 353-0, Raynham, Mass. Anyone wishing to be heard on this matter should attend the hearing. A copy of the plan and application may be viewed in full at Town Hall, Raynham Town Clerk's office during scheduled business hours. And the list of abutters was signed by Jennifer Banks.
Thank you. Would all those who intend to give testimony with respect to this matter please rise? Would you identify yourself, sir? Can you raise your right hand? You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this board shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you. Come forward and tell us about your petition.
So this is just to recertify the house. There was an in-law addition put on in 2006 with a special permit. I purchased the house May 20th, so this is just to recertify the house as an in-law. Everything is as was. There's still single units for electricity, water, heat. To my knowledge, nothing's different from the special permit that they did in 2006.
Okay. And still family members living there? And
Yes, myself, my adult children, granddaughter coming in 2 weeks.
good luck. Barrett?
I
You have
can
any
attest to
questions?
this. I actually did the inspection on this for the fire department a
Oh, is
couple
that
of
right?
months ago, and, yeah.
Great.
It is what I see.
Done. Peter, do you have any comments or questions?
I'm fine.
No?
Yeah.
Is there anyone else here who wishes to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone here who wishes to speak in opposition to this petition? In that case, I will declare the meeting closed. The board will go into executive session. All may remain, but none may speak. Barrett, tell us about the place.
As you stated, it is an existing in-law apartment. It meets all our requirements, single entrance, no separate utilities.
And you inspected the place
I
yourself?
inspected the place myself a couple months ago.
All right, we'll believe you. Peter?
Move we approve.
Huh?
Move we approve.
Second?
I approve.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
I would again announce the meeting open. The board has voted unanimously to approve the petition. Anyone who's aggrieved by that may file an appeal with the town clerk within 20 days of the filing of the board's decision with the town clerk. Thank you, good luck. Good luck with your grandchild. I think that was a new record, too.
I think so.
Huh?
I think that was probably the
I don't think Maureen has time to turn on her tape recorder.
The Raynham Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, July 24th, 2019, 7 p.m. at Raynham Veterans Memorial Town Hall, 558 South Main Street, to consider petition number 988, Kenneth J. Collins, Raynham, Mass., request for a special permit pursuant to Raynham zoning bylaws, section 7.4, specific uses allowed by special permit to allow an in-law apartment to be constructed in a new home at Lot 31 Cornerstone Drive, assesses map 12, Lot 239-15, Raynham, Mass. Anyone wishing to be heard on this matter should attend the hearing. A copy of the plan and application may be viewed in full at Raynham Town Clerk's office during scheduled business hours. And the list of abutters was signed by Michael Lally.
Would all those who intend to give testimony with respect to this matter please rise? Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give before this board shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Come on up and tell us why we should grant your petition.
Good evening. Just seeking permission from the board to build a new home with an in-law for my parents.
Oh, yeah, name.
I'm sorry, Kenneth Collins.
Good thinking.
She helped me.
Tell us a little bit about your project and what you intend to do.
Yep, I'm hoping to get started in about a month. I currently live in Raynham next door to my parents, taking care of the 2 houses and 2 yards, and we decided to consolidate and build one house. So I'm hoping to build here on Cornerstone in Raynham, bring the in-laws in, bring my parents in.
Okay.
And I've met with the building department. He sort of pre-approved that plan. It's less than the 750 square feet. The single utilities, and I think everything you guys have asked for is there.
All right. Any questions, Barrett, or comments? No? Peter?
No, I mean, looks like a nice setup.
Okay. You said you met with the building inspector,
Yep,
and he went over this with you?
he did. We went back and forth, yep. But while I was designing it, we went back and forth, because originally I was over the 750 square feet, so he approved that one, that's within the 750 square feet. I think it's 730-something now, the in-law.
All right. Is there anyone else here who wishes to be heard in favor of this petition? Is there anyone here who wishes to be heard in opposition to this petition? It's easy when there's only two people out here, you know? All right. Anyone have any more questions, Peter, Barrett? All right, we would again declare the meeting closed. All may remain, but none may speak while the board is in executive session. Peter?
Yeah, everything looks fine. It's within the 750. It's got plenty of access outside and, into the house.
Barrett? No problems? Cool.
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
So moved.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. I would again declare the meeting open. The board has granted your petition unanimously. Anyone that has any objections to the decision may file an appeal to the Superior Court, and that appeal shall be filed with the town clerk within 20 days of the filing of the board's decision with the town clerk. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
That's all the new stuff. 975 or 995?
Yeah. And there is correspondence, so we're gonna have to get to that.
Okay.
All right. The Raynham Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, today's date, 24th, July 24th, 2019 at 7 p.m. at Raynham Veterans Memorial Town Hall, 558 South Main Street, to consider petition 975, Robert F. Long, President Long Built Homes, New Bedford, Mass., and Ronald Turwitz, President EastCat Inc., Manager of Hamlin Realty LLC, Attleboro, Mass. Request for variance from Raynham zoning bylaws, section 6.12.0, estate lots, subsection 6.12.2, requirements number 4, to allow an estate to be created with 41.42 feet frontage instead of the required 50-foot frontage, and variance from subsection 6.12.2, requirement number 8, to allow an estate lot to be created with, that is less than 50 feet wide for 6.7 feet from its street frontage instead of the required 50 feet wide throughout its entire length. Locust property assesses map 9, lot 213-0, Locust Street, Raynham, Mass. Anyone wishing to be heard on this matter should appear at the time and place designated. A copy of the plan and application may be viewed in full at Raynham Town Clerk's office during scheduled business hours. And do I have to state that this was a continuance? This was a continuance from February 6th, 2019. We do have some correspondence.
So is it in favor or is it opposed? That's all right, we'll just hang on to that a little
Pass
bit.
them all. You wanna pass the copies?
There's 3
Oh, there's 3 copies.
Thought I had to read 3.
Look at that.
There's 4 if you want.
I don't know if you wanna read this when it comes time, that's before the record. It's
Okay.
not really much, but just
Yeah.
have it on the record, 'cause we
Yeah, we'll
said-
put it on the record, yeah.
All right, this is from John Chase of the Raynham Center Water District. I met out at the site several months back to locate the water main for the future installation of the catch basin, a catch basin across from Goldfinch Road. During the meeting, the district excavated alongside the road to verify the water main location and depth. It was found that the water main was under the edge of the pavement and that the depth to the top of the pipe, which would prevent the catch basin from being installed along the edge of the road. We had discussed the possibility of placing the catch basin back further onto the property. The project developer and engineer were going to look into this. There was also some discussion about possibly relocating the water main, but this option was abandoned due to the complexity of the work and the disruption to the residents. If you have any questions, please let me know. So that's about the water main.
Would all those who intend to give testimony with respect to this matter please rise? Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give before this board shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God. You may be seated. Who's going to be speaking for the petitioner? Why don't you come on and come forward, identify yourself, and tell us why we need to grant your petition.
Good evening. My name is Lee Castagnetti. I represent the petitioner, the applicant, Long-Built Homes. I'm not sure if you recall, it goes back quite a ways from the initial hearing that we had on this, but the variance was initiated as an attempt to provide the town with an accommodation for drainage on Locust Street. We're developing the subdivision directly across the street from this, and the subdivision drainage was designed to be able to accommodate additional drainage off of Locust Street. In fact, we went through the additional cost of setting up our drainage facilities on our side of Locust Street, which would be on the easterly side, so that we could incorporate the drainage from the opposite side. As John Chase has indicated, the original game plan was simply to put it like you typically would along the edge of the roadway. But unfortunately, there's an old, he didn't mention in his email, but it's an old asbestos water line that's pretty fragile, and a lot of concern for doing any work around it that would compromise the line. So we contemplated various options, and the only option was to put it off the street. And this lot is owned by Ron Turowitz, and he is not willing to sell it other than as a buildable lot for a price reflective of a buildable lot. So the only way that we can provide the accommodation for the drainage to the town, we don't own the lot, he won't allow the drainage to occur. So we're simply trying to purchase the lot as a buildable lot so that we can provide the drainage, which, as you showed on the plan, at the request of Ed Buckley, is both a catch basin on the southerly edge of the lot, and then a drainage swale, which is at a lower point in the road, so it will actually capture more water than the catch basin will, and it will run it to the back of the lot. And as I had indicated at the last hearing, it's an approximately little over 12-acre lot. It's a relatively inconsequential variance. It is for a total of 6.7 feet from the setback of the property line in the front. And at that 6.7-foot mark, we actually achieve the full 50 feet for the rest of the width of the lot going back, and we would be quite willing to restrict the lot to development as a single lot. So the entire 12 acres, the remainder of the 12 acres, would essentially remain open space.
How much wetland do you have in those 12 acres?
Very little, actually. Very little. It's pretty. We did have that walking flag. I'm not sure if it made its way onto this plan for the flagging. I apologize if it didn't, but it's the amount of wetlands is relatively inconsequential. It's largely upland.
Where's the house going?
What?
Where's the house?
The house is here,
How far back is it, 100 feet?
100 feet.
And the streetscape would be essentially the same as, we built the other houses along that side of the street as well. We had purchased those lots from Mr. Terowitz a few years back, and it would be, consistent with the existing streetscape.
I'll see it for the February meeting.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Anything else?
No, that's,
Garrett?
Um,
Or Peter?
Some other notes from February 6th, from Rob Iafredi. It says, please note that since the recent adoption of this bylaw, there have been no approved estate lots, and this bylaw has yet to be tested in its current format. I believe the one. Now, is it going to affect the catch basin that they want to put in there, or?
is what going to affect
Well,
the catch basin?
you have here this catch basin that the town wants to put in?
We
Or that
would
you need to
be
put-
doing it at our
Alright.
expense for the town.
Okay.
And we would, the line would run from that catch basin over to the two structures, the catch basin inlets on our side of the street, and then
Okay.
into our drainage system. So the drainage running along, at least some of the drainage, that was the push by Mr. Buckley, was that his feeling was that wherever he had we're trying to do the same thing on our southerly entrance as well, and that was part of our approval, that we would seek to assist Mr. Buckley with relieving some of the drainage issues along Locust Street. If you go out to Locust Street, you'll know it's an older, country road, and there is no drainage. It's kind of like New Hampshire drainage. So, his goal was wherever he had the opportunity to capture some of that drainage and get it off the road, to do so. And as I had said earlier, our drainage system internally was designed to be able to accept and handle that additional inflow of surface runoff from Locust Street.
Have you looked at the possibility at all of buying a little chunk of the land on the road, on either side
From
of
the
the roadway,
abutters?
from the abutters?
It's a question of being able to tie it into our drainage.
Right.
Our drainage structures are at our entrance. So if you go further down the road, you can't, you'd have to excavate at different
Well,
elevations.
I'm not suggesting,
No.
I'm suggesting that if you've got 41 feet to play with now instead of 50,
Right,
okay?
right.
Can you buy 5 feet on either side?
Oh, we did look into that, yes.
And
yes.
that's not working?
I was not, no.
It's not?
We did try, try.
All right.
A lot of complications with lenders that are foreign, that you hold a loan and get a release of the mortgage and get it to change. It was,
It's called creative financing.
just was, it was a bear, but
Okay.
we did try.
All right. Anything else, Barrett? No. Peter,
No, I mean,
you wish to say anything else?
No, I think that's.
Is there anyone else here who wishes to speak in favor of this project? Yes? No?
I guess.
Sir?
We go down, we're gonna look at 261 Locust Street. I have a question on how far back the swale goes.
I'm sorry, how far back, what?
Is it the swale shown?
Oh, the swale.
Just talking about the catch basin.
Yeah.
There's the swale. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that side of Locust Street. The elevation slopes right down to
Right.
24. So while not, I'm leaning somewhat in favor of it, that it's an estate lot, which means there's only one house there ever.
Right.
What I'm concerned about is that what happens on the other side of the road where they just built the new homes is that they clear cut that 12 acres. If they clear cut that 12 acres back there, that's, the noise volume on Locust Street goes up dramatically because of 24. That's the barrier, that 12 acres.
You can impose conditions regarding clearing. We will not clear any further shown on that plan.
That's, you own, so I'm okay with that.
Oh, no, we can, I mean, they can impose that just like a no further
Oh,
development.
I know that.
They can impose that as well.
That's why I'm raising
Yeah,
it. So that would be.
and
one
we're more
stipulation.
than amenable to that.
Yeah.
Good.
Only because
Oh, he's talking about this,
Yeah.
this swale here.
Yeah, if you
where
look
it
at the
cuts some of the
elevation.
trees.
Right, right.
that elevation goes like this, right down to 24. So even putting a swale out there will be interesting just to see where it sits within the elevation on that piece of property. So I am leaning in favor of it, as long as it doesn't get clear cut. There's one house.
Anyone else here wish to speak in favor? No. Are you, do you have anything that you wish to add at this point?
I don't.
But if I'm hearing you correctly, you don't have any objection to conditions on your petition which would limit your being allowed to
Further develop
one house and
one house.
leave the trees alone and,
Correct.
okay. Apparently there's someone here in opposition.
And the swale, the swale, the clearing for the swale you're going to impose, it would be the minimal amount of clearing necessary to create the swale. You're not looking to, create any further, to disturb the existing conditions any further than is absolutely necessary to properly create the swale.
Yeah, and just to reiterate that, the noise level.
You identify yourself, please.
I'm sorry, Leo Don, 261 Locust Street. That noise level would raise up enough that would even impact his home on the other shore.
Right, right. Okay. Yes, sir, you wish to be heard in opposition?
Yes, I'm one of the, I live across the street from this post.
And what's your name and address?
John
please?
Cameron, 228 Locust. And if he had purchased this lot before, he bought and sold the two pieces of property on either side, and during the February 6th meeting, one of the homeowners that he sold the home to, that he could have bought 5 feet from if he needed, was here. She totally did not want to have it happen. I don't know why she's not here tonight, but she was here for February 6th, which is 6 months ago. But there was an issue with the water on that side of the street. And that side of the street, long-built homes promised Raynham they would put a sidewalk on that side of the street. So, I mean, there's a sidewalk going to be put on that side over there by them. We've conceded a lot, the town of Raynham, for him to go ahead and for the long-built to go ahead and put like different house lots in there, but he's already sold the 2 house lots on either side of his estate. And he could have changed something then before he sold it and made his profits, We don't really want the town to change we got the zoning bylaws in place to protect the people that have been living here for the last 10 years like me. We don't want the neighborhood changing.
I'm not quite clear what your objection is. Is it the potential of the water problems, or
Well,
is
he's
it?
saying he's gonna have to put his drain further back now. There's a big problem with water on that side of the street right now because they build their houses. The lots were level like this before, now they build a house like this, and all the water from the lots run out to the street now from these big house lots, And this one's just gonna be another house lot adding more water to Raynham Street. That's the side of the street that's supposed to get a sidewalk put on it for the town of Raynham from Long-Built. And we haven't heard or seen nothing designed in that, That's you putting a swale around the sidewalks, that's the west side of the street.
Well, actually, I think by him building this swale, it's going to alleviate some of the drainage issues. As far as, have you seen the plans as far as like where he wants to put the swale and have it go out towards 24 and get it away from the street?
I don't know how he's gonna put a swale there, but he's gonna put a sidewalk, it's a kind of level sidewalk there.
No, it's not along the side of the street. It's along the side of the house he's going to build.
Inside the street, down the street, I understand that, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's along the side of the house he wants to build. It's not along the street. So it'll take water from the street
Locust will bring it down.
and bring it and put it out towards 24 and get it
There's
away.
a ton of water, so when it rains, it's all pouring off these big house lots, they're all pitched out to Locust Street like this right now there. I mean, they're steep, I don't know if you've been by them. And that side of the street, they're gonna put some kind of level sidewalk on too. If the town's gonna hold them to what they said when they first got the permit to get their first long-built homes in,
Anything else you wish to add?
No.
No. Any questions of the objectors?
Now, when you say they're supposed to put a sidewalk, was that in some sort of contract or?
If I could interject.
Sure.
There's no sidewalk, that's got nothing to do with us. I had no idea, we contributed money as part of the planning board decision to the future improvement of Locust Street, but that future improvement of Locust Street is entirely up to the town. Combination of state money and whatever else, but we're not directly involved in that at all. I've never seen a design for it as far as sidewalks are concerned, so I have no idea, and I have to believe that Mr. Buckley would have wanted us to put it in a location that accounted for the location of the sidewalk, and that was never mentioned, so I don't believe that that's in play here. I think that's misinformation on this gentleman's part.
Yes, sir?
And in order for him to have sidewalks put down Goldfinch on one side of the street, the stipulation was he was to provide the residents of Locust Street with a sidewalk on the west side of Locust.
That's totally incorrect. There's no such
I was-
condition.
Is that, I mean, is that?
It's on tape somewhere, yeah, from when they went through with their conservation, yes.
Was that
It
part
wasn't
of?
Long Built, it was the prior, I know it's not,
It was the
him.
prior builder?
It was the Global Construction.
Global Construction.
They hold.
Was that part, I mean, was that in writing somewhere? Was that part of the
That's part of
contract?
it's been taped on meeting, yes.
No, I'm not talking about tape, I'm talking about contracts.
It is not part of the decision. It is not. I can affirm.
So, if they build, if they,
I know that decision from top to bottom, inside and out. We have to live by that decision. There's no requirement for sidewalk. There was a contribution made to the town, $105,000 for the future improvement of Locust Street, period. No discussion about sidewalks on Locust Street within the context of that decision whatsoever.
Okay.
And just as an additional point, the drainage from the houses that we've built, none of that drainage, not a drop, runs onto Locust Street. Everything runs from our homes onto the lots internal to the subdivision, into our catch basins and into our drainage system. So we don't contribute a single drop of water to Locust Street from the homes we've built in our subdivision. They may in fact be raised, but they're raised and they shed onto our streets, onto our subdivision streets, not onto Locust Street. None of them.
Yes?
so if he puts a driveway, picture from a house, say at 30-degree angle, out to Locust Street, none water's coming off his driveways?
None of the houses are oriented that way. None of them.
It's definitely doing it though, I'm telling you. And then he's got a vacant lot that turns to a swimming pool with all the water that's on the street. It goes down into one of his lots.
Okay.
So much water there.
Anything else? You have anything else you wish to put on the record, sir?
Leo Donnelly, 261 Locust, just a caveat that the lot does not get cleared.
What's that, please?
That the trees don't get cut down.
Oh, yeah,
He doesn't want to spend the house of the split.
Right. Okay. All right, do you have anything else you wish to add? I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to say whatever they've got. Okay. Do you wish to add anything else?
No.
Derek, do you have any questions of the petitioner or the objectors?
No, sir.
Peter?
It's
You
just
all set?
unfortunate he didn't think of it earlier and cut those pieces off of the
Yeah.
lots.
They had minimum frontage,
Oh,
both the lots on either
these
side.
is-
There wasn't the opportunity to do it this way. If that had been the possibility, we
Yeah.
certainly would have done
Yeah.
that, but they were minimum lot frontages on both sides.
All right, I would then declare the meeting closed. The board will go into executive session. All may remain, but none may speak. Barrett?
The frontage was 6 feet short,
yeah,
but
9
it
feet.
far exceeds the 2 acres of uplands. It's got 12 acres
Oh,
of
yeah.
uplands.
Yeah.
And they're going to correct a hopeful drainage issue to
Improve it.
alleviate some water going towards Locust Street.
Mhm.
I'm against the idea of, passing the first retreat lot for minimum, even less frontage than what we already approved.
I
But
know.
if it's going to alleviate a flooding issue
Oh, yeah.
and be one house,
Yeah, quite frankly, I like the idea of having one house there instead of another 40B coming in. And,
I would-
then you're sitting on 24 houses back there,
I would be,
especially where it appears to be largely dry and not wetlands. I'd like to have 12 acres behind my house. But,
there'd have to be a stipulation of no clear
Right.
cutting
Yeah.
and drainage issue be corrected.
yeah,
would it be like no clearing beyond the envelope of the 125 foot envelope?
Either that or no clearing beyond the minimum necessary to create the swale for drainage.
No, I'm thinking in terms of even behind the house here.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's with the swale, but I'm just saying, you say within the 125 foot
Yeah, put in the square. yeah.
square?
Yeah.
Clearing should
I think that
remain.
makes sense.
Yeah.
What do you think, Bert? Makes sense to you?
Sense to me, sir.
Peter?
Yeah, so I'd say add those two stipulations, and I think it, like you say, it's better to have one house, alleviate some drainage, than get a 40B coming in here and saying, I want 12 houses or 20 houses, and then you would have your clearing.
So we got the trees, and we've got the
Drainage
Yeah.
drainage
issues must be
must be addressed or
addressed or catch
alleviated.
basin.
Yeah, okay.
You want to repeat that? The drainage issue must be addressed?
That must be alleviated by use of catch basin or
And the swales.
swales or other appropriate means.
And other appropriate means. Okay.
Any other conditions?
Limit to one home.
Oh, limit that to
Yeah,
One
one-
single-family home.
limit to one single-family home in perpetuity.
Forever.
Should you give at least the clearing for the swale should be at least 100 feet from the back property or something like that? Because this is, well, that's 295, that's 200. So it'd be at least 100 or 125.
At least, yeah, 125 is good.
Yeah. So any clearing necessary for this swale should not exceed 125 feet from the back line, property line.
Should not exceed.
Should not be closer to the back property
Should not
line.
be closer than
125
125 feet from the back.
Should not be closer than 125 feet.
From the back boundary, the back property line.
Okay.
And clearing for the house should be limited to the 125-foot envelope.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. We got all that?
Yep.
Anything else?
Did he get all that?
Anything else? Anything else that you want to add?
No, sir.
All right, I would then declare the meeting
Was
closed.
that a motion? And a
I'm
second?
sorry.
Oh, so, well, don't we have to close it and then vote?
And then do what? Yeah,
Close and then,
yeah,
yeah.
that's what I
We
was,
already did.
huh?
Did you
No, we
close
didn't
it?
close the meeting yet.
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, no mistake. All right.
Okay,
I make a motion,
motion.
single-family home, limited clearing to the envelope of the, building envelope, and a swale and drainage be completed.
Second? Yes,
So
yes,
moved
yes.
also.
Yeah, do you have all the conditions, Maureen?
Yeah, I have 4.
Yes.
2 on clearing,
Yes,
1 house only,
right,
and then
Swale.
drainage.
yeah, good,
Drainage
okay.
issues.
All right. All right, I would again declare the meeting open. Anyone having objections to the decision may file an appeal to the Superior Court, and that appeal shall be filed with the town clerk within 20 days of the filing of the board's decision with the town clerk. Good luck. Okay. Sure. I think that makes sense.
Thanks. So, this is the house, and that's where the swale's gonna be over here.
I'll be down there all the time.
So we said this can't go further, it's gotta have at least 125
Kids
feet
and
here.
grandkids and back there.
All right, and then, and like I say,
He's already coming in, one bill with,
that's gonna alleviate a lot of the, not a lot, but some of the,
Yeah, there are
zoning
significant
laws
drainage
left
problems
for,
Yeah.
on this side of the thing.
goldfish.
If you look at this side, everything slopes
yeah, you
fairly
can see
In
it.
the bay area,
Yeah.
right?
It starts up here at 81 and goes down to 50, so 30 feet drop.
They're looking for small lots for what?
Off of Bayberry, he's looking for, what's that cluster building he's looking for?
Cluster housing?
He's got something coming up, yeah. He sent the meeting all the way to that. So Raynham's gave him a lot of consideration.
Yeah.
I don't know why the other homeowner didn't show up, that he sold the home to for we cut off $1 million. She was,
Yeah,
she probably couldn't get off tonight, so he couldn't find 5 feet of her. She was opposed to it, you know? That continuation of a long time, February now, you know?
yeah. All right, meeting is closed.
Well, we have to elect a clerk.
Oh, I'm sorry, we have
approve
to,
minutes just by a vote.
by a vote, move to approve minutes. Second,
So
yes,
moved.
yes, yes.
And now we have to do the clerk.
I nominate
Yes.
Peter Shondak.
I second that nomination. All those in
I
fa-
can't third it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
By unanimous
Opposed?
vote, by unanimous vote, Peter Shondak is the esteemed
Is that
clerk of
yours?
the court.
Yeah, I'll take it.
With this? Yeah, I don't want to take that from you. I think you got the other stuff.
No.